We're all adults here. So today's video, we're gonna lay out some ground rules. We're not gonna use the term caca. We're not gonna use poopy. We're not gonna use doo-doo. We're not gonna use duty. We're not gonna use crap. We're not gonna use pee-pee. And the reason we're not gonna use those terms in today's video is because we are gonna be talking about porta potties for your next great overlanding adventure. And I believe it's my duty. Crap. Before we get into this video, if you could just do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below, leave a comment, like the video, share it with your friends. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you in advance. I'm a guy that for years thought that the porta potty game was overrated. I just didn't like the options that were out there for me. So instead, I chose to just do my business out in the wild, or once I got civilized, started behaving like a normal human being, we went to this bucket here. So this is just simply a cheap little $20 bucket that you put a bag in, and you get it from like REI or whatever, and it works fine, unless you're female. My wife hated this thing. She never even used it. She would rather just wait, stop at a gas station, blah, 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 you know, that kind of thing. And although that may be an option, it most certainly isn't a good one, especially if you have a wife or a girlfriend or a daughter, or you're a female traveling. You will probably hate this type of setup. So you need something more. And that takes me to the Overland Expo West show, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. I was walking around the booth, checking out the product, and more at this point, the adventure van was kind of rolling into the scene. And I came across this product that was a porta potty, but it was slightly different than any other porta potty that I saw. That was then a company that was just trying to get their traction in North America, called Trelino. And they're based out of Germany, and they made really cool composting porta potty or composting toilets that you could use in your vans. You could throw them in the back of your Jeep. You could tie them down in the back of your truck. So what are the differences between these things? So I don't know the technical terms, so I'm just gonna give you the layman's terminology when I look at porta potties, how I break them down. We have this type here, which is a bag system. This would be considered probably composting because of the way you get rid of the waste, but it's definitely not any type of luxury involved in this thing at all. It's about as good as a 5-gallon bucket from Home Depot, but it's cheap. And then you have the mass porta potty market that most of us see. They're like usually 2 different compartments. They have chemicals to flush the system through, and you empty out the big old tank of water that's underneath. But to be quite honest, that whole process just grosses me out, and I don't want anything to do with it. And then you have the composting toilet or composting porta potty. And the composting porta potty gets rid of the waste in an environmentally friendly way. The bags are biodegradable, the stuff in it won't harm the environment, and it's a thing where you don't have to go to a pump station to pump out the waste. Now, usually when it comes to these composting toilet setups, up to recent years, they were more like this one here, which is a bag over a hole basically, and you just seal up the bag and you toss the bag, and it takes care of the waste that way. But Trelino came out with their version of the composting toilet that did something very unique to the industry, and it started separating your number 1s from your number 2s. So what that means is there's actually 2 compartments inside of this composting toilet. One is a bottle with a lid, and that is where all the number 1 goes, right? So as you sit down, especially as a female, males it's a little different, but we don't necessarily have the same unique problems as a female does when it comes to finding a good porta potty experience. You sit down, all of the 1 goes into a separate compartment, which is then able to be removed from the housing and then dumped somewhere. And the number 2 goes in a more traditional kind of composting scenario where it goes into a bag. You take that bag out, it has either some kitty litter in there or some wood chips, or, you know, I like to keep it environmentally safe, so we would use something like a wood chip or something more along that lines. You bag it up and you toss that, but the 2 do not mix. And I don't know if you're anything like me, but the idea of a nasty bag of pee that I'm tying up inside of a bag with whatever else is in there and tossing it is absolutely disgusting. So that being said, let's take a look at the Trelino Evo line of composting toilets. It's very lightweight, first of all. Weighs just, I believe this is under 10 pounds. They have a small, medium, and large size in this one. Large is great for these adventure vans. Most of the traditional porta potties are in a large form factor. So when there's cabinets that are built for porta potties and stuff like that, your large is generally what will fit, the same as a traditional porta potty with all the liquid. Only you don't have to deal with the disgusting liquid. As we open the lid and as you look down on the lid, you'll see that it's clearly broken up into two different compartments. There's a place for your number one and there's a place for your number two. And that in itself is the success of this porta potty. This whole setup is kind of a modular deal. So as we take the lid off, let me show you what's inside the housing. Your number one bottle. So everything is funneled into this system, and the lid on this system is sealed so water can't come, or urine in this case, can't come splashing back out. So basically, while it's sitting in there, it will be like this, but when you want to remove it, you take this lid off, you put a solid lid on, you simply lift the bucket out of the bucket and get rid of it as need be. And then for your more sensitive number twos, comes basically a trash can type container that the bags will go over. It also comes with a lid, so you can keep this lidded up while you're just driving around, and that will help contain any type of residual smell. If for some reason there's an emergency, you had to go, but it's still in the van, you couldn't get rid of it. You lit everything up, and the way it's sealed up and stuff, you won't smell a thing. Pretty simple. When these things are too much for you and they get a little gross, or you think they're gross, you simply replace them. On Trelino's website, they have each of their individual parts that go into this porta potty sold separately on the website, so you can go and you can get one of these, or you can even get like extras, you know. So like what I'll probably do is I'll probably go and buy like another each of these just to have them as extras, and I'll buy probably a bunch of bags just so I can assure that I never run out. Guys, as we're looking at the tech specs, the large Trelino Evo, which is the one that I have here, weighs just over 10 pounds at 10.8. The capacity of the urine container is 2.6 gallons, so that's a lot of pee. So far as the number two, the solid tank, you will get 2.6 gallons out of that. And the maximum load for the weight that goes on is the same whether you get the small, medium, or large. And like I said earlier, that's 330 pounds. We don't want to overcomplicate this by trying to get all geeky on a porta potty, but the Trelino line did all the geek work for us. This thing is a very nice, very, I'll say inconspicuous for lack of a better word, form factor that can really set anywhere in your van or the back of your rig, and it kind of just looks like a box. So let's talk price. The large model, I would have to look at the small medium. I kind of am only giving my opinion on the product that I have versus the product line, generally speaking. This large Evo comes in at 599 bucks. When you hit that $599 mark, you might think, oh, that's expensive, but it really isn't any different than most other products in the industry. It's all in a certain range, right? But the Trelino Evo setup, or I even think the other ones look nice as well, is a form factor that looks like no other. It is something that you don't have to worry about. It's not a porta potty that's going to be hidden away somewhere. You can strap it down or sit it down anywhere. But if you want to put it away and you run something like I do, which is the Lost Highway Customs toilet box, I'll show you how that fits and looks inside in there in a second. And that is also a great option for this thing. It's fully waterproof. It's made out of a composite, so you don't have to worry about it getting wet or dirty or anything like that. It cleans out easy. Because of the compartments and the actual separate containers, you actually can clean this whole thing super easy. It's something where you don't have to lift the whole porta potty out of the vehicle to go and clean something out. You could just take whatever compartment you need to and go deal with it and put it back in. So guys, as far as a porta potty setup goes for me or most men, this thing is going to be rad for you guys. It's just probably the most comfortable, non-disgusting option that I found. I saw it like I said, 3-4 years ago, and I loved it then, and I love it today. As far as you women out there, this is the way to go when it comes to porta potties, especially when it comes to composting porta potties. Before I go, let me just talk about the versatility one more time. I kind of hit on it earlier, but the idea of being able to take this box just as it sits, drop it in my Jeep, stored away for when I am going camping, even tent camping. This is the answer, guys. You definitely need a good porta potty when you're driving these adventure vans. You definitely want a good porta potty when you're camping traditionally as well. The thing is though, you want to stick with that composting porta potty. And the Trelino, because of their 2 separate compartments system that they've developed, is hands down the best in the industry. Guys, you can find the Trelino Evo or all of their products on their website. It's mytrelino.com. Don't make using a porta potty weird. We all do it. I'm Rob from Exo Keep adventure alive.